C upper limit, much less 1.5 degrees C, not even close for that. So that's the voluntarism that's talked about. It doesn't add up yet. Of course, it can be tightened in the next years, but it doesn't add up now. But there's a second problem for me that I think is a more logical problem that I'm hoping will at least be addressed in part in this agreement, and that's the following. The United States has said in its INDC, this is just an example, that the U.S. will reduce emissions by 26 to 28% in the year 2025 compared with the baseline year of 2005. So that's the INDC for the United States. Here's the problem. There are two ways to do that. There are many ways, but I'm going to talk about two ways. One is what you might call the low-hanging fruit way. Now, if we were on Bali, we'd love the low-hanging fruit, right? Because it's the best fruit in the world. So we would grab some low-hanging fruit and have a wonderful breakfast. But if you're in energy modeling, the low-hanging fruit may be easy things to do to get you to that reduction level by 2025, but are completely inconsistent with getting to zero later on. And that's what the U.S. has in mind right now. Because the U.S. plan to get down 26 to 28% is based on two ideas. One is to go from coal to gas, which of course reduces roughly by half the emissions per megawatt hour. The other idea is to improve the fuel efficiency of normal internal combustion engine automobiles. To go from something like, and we say it in the US, miles per gallon, to go from about 35 miles per gallon to about 55 miles per gallon as of 2025. Those aren't terrible things, but when you think about it, they're not about going to zero. They're just about continuing to be a fossil fuel economy that's a little bit less emitting than the current mess that we have. And what worries me is that it actually will lock the U.S. into a natural gas economy, which is better than being locked into a coal economy, but nothing like decarbonization, because natural gas is a fossil fuel, and it emits a lot of carbon dioxide. And even if we put all of our coal and oil converted to gas, we'd still be a massive emitting country. We wouldn't solve this problem at all. So what's the other way to get to that 2025 level? You could say, no, we're not going to gas, we're going to solar, wind, hydro, geothermal, nuclear maybe, carbon capture and sequestration. We're really going to true zero carbon power. Or we're not going to better fuel efficiency of internal combustion engines, we're going to electric vehicles or fuel cell vehicles. If that were the US plan, I'd feel a lot better about it. Because then you could say, those are steps on the way to actually getting to zero. That maybe you would only do a few power plants by 2025, but the kind of new power plant would be zero emission power, not fossil fuel power. But that's not what the U.S. has planned, partly because the lobby of the oil industry is so powerful that you know, President Obama's taken on coal, but he said to the gas sector, you're it. But the gas sector isn't it. The gas sector isn't even a midway station. The gas sector, in my view, is a dead end. If we're really after decarbonization, we should be going straight over gas to solar, to wind, to the real zero carbon technologies. So here's what I proposed together with colleagues in our Sustainable Development Solutions Network. We have a project called Deep Decarbonization Pathways Project. You can find it online, and it includes Indonesia, it includes all of the 16 major emitting countries, and it asks a different question from the INDCs. There as engineers to negotiate. They wouldn't negotiate. They don't know how to negotiate. Engineers don't know how to negotiate. Engineers know how to solve problems. And that's what our mindset should be. This should never have been negotiations. This should have been a cooperative, collaborative, global problem solving for one of the most difficult, challenging problems that humanity has ever faced. The governments haven't quite figured that out, but I think civil society has figured it out. And we're going to have to carry the ball and take it forward.
Okay, this is really very good and provocating for us. Any question, burning question? I know that here's Hasim there, right? The ladies here, and okay.
Professor Sachs, I'm Hashim, a businessman from Indonesia. I have good news for you. Tomorrow, Indonesian Pavilion is going to present a biomass solution which will not compete with food. In fact, we will be providing food from the biomass source in the form of sugar palm sugar, which is something new, so we'd like to invite all of you to be with us. I personally think, and many of my colleagues think, it's a revolutionary model for reforestation and saving the world. Okay, so I'll give you a DVD, knowing that you're a very busy man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me ask the business community on something like this, which is very exciting. Bring along some ecologists to help monitor, measure the biodiversity, the changes of landscape, so that you have good scientific documentation along the way. And then we can show the world what you're doing and teach the rest of the world how to do the same.
Thank you. So, yes, the lady here.
Hello, thank you. Actually, that is the third time I had the opportunity to be a professor at Jeffrey Sachs. The first one was in Rio de Janeiro, my university, second one in Lima last year, and now the third one. I am Agatha from Brazil, and I work with youth mobilization and also to bring youth voices. And this climate change problem is something that really hurt us, because we know that the problems become even bigger, and we can't imagine how it can be bigger in 20 years. But one thing that concerns me, and also most of the youth I know, is that only the carbonization is one part of the problems. And also how to make energy is also one part of the problems. We think that the biggest problem is our model of consumerism. You know, because we are all the time extracting resources, we are cutting forests, and also produce energy. And in the negotiations, we don't hear about it. We don't hear about exchanging models of life, of living. And I don't know if we can make a commentary about it. What we can do about it?
Great. Thank you. You know, we adopted on September 25th the Sustainable Development Goals. There's 17 goals that give a comprehensive picture of what we ought to do. From ending poverty, gender equality, protecting the oceans, protecting the terrestrial ecosystems, stopping human-induced climate change, narrowing inequalities in our society, making our cities sustainable. 17 goals. I'm a professor, I get to give homework assignments. So first, make sure you know all 17 goals. If you don't know them, look them up on your phone, practice for a few minutes, and then go impress your friends. Ask them, what's SDG 7? You don't know? Of course, it's renewable energy. Are you kidding? What's SDG 13? Climate change. Are you kidding? So you have to be able to do this. Okay, that's number one. Second, the SDGs are an important concept. They put sustainable development as our frame. What does sustainable development mean? It means combining economic development, including the end of poverty, with justice and with environmental sustainability. It's a good combination.